so excited to be here today with Cara. Cara is a woman you may have seen from a video that went viral on social media with over 100 million views. And she was doing pull-ups like the boss ass strong bitch she is in front of all of these Navy SEALs. And there was one woman in the background cheering her on. So Cara, so excited for you to be here and talk about your fitness journey and calisthenics specifically, feminism, being Jewish. We have a lot to talk about. So welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's awesome to be here.
And where are you from, Cara?
So I was born in South Africa, and then I moved to California when I was 12. And then I've been in Miami 3 years.
Okay, wow. So still kind of new to Miami.
I feel like from the day I moved here, like it was like home for me. Like there's just no, like from the fitness communities to the Jewish communities, it was like, I felt like I just slipped right into like family and home.
Yeah, Miami does that for sure. It's a very welcoming, warm city. I feel similarly since having moved here recently too.
Yeah, and there's no season, so just like you get a hug. I feel like every day is just a hug.
Every day. I am scared for this summer though. I'm not used to that extreme heat.
You're gonna be fine because it's not gonna be. There's still a bit of a breeze because it's like if you don't like humidity, that's different. But there's still a bit of a breeze. So
I think I would take the humidity any day over being cold.
Yeah.
So Cara, I want to talk first and foremost calisthenics. To me, calisthenics is just body weight training, but it's also a competitive sport that you practice. So tell me a little bit more about how you got into that.
I actually started calisthenics when I was living in Israel. So 6 years ago, I studied abroad in Tel Aviv, and I was in like a prime summer location. So I'm just like any girl, like you want to feel good in a bikini, and I was like partying all the time. I was like at Shalbata, like just having the time of my life. And it just kind of got to a point where I was like, I really want to do something about this because I'm not feeling good in my body. And in Tel Aviv, they have all these outdoor gym parks on the beach. And I said to myself, you know what, if I can watch the sunset over the ocean every day, like look at all these hot Israeli men without their shirts on, and also get a workout every day, like I think I'm gonna have the best study abroad experience ever. So I always say that what started first was wanting to look good in a bikini, transpired into so much more because all I wanted to do was just be strong. And I made my first goal to learn how to do pull-ups. I said I want to come back to America and add 10 pull-ups to my resume. Outrageous goal to have because I think at the time I could only do like one, and I didn't even know that I could do a pull-up. I just tried. And I just became, I like to call that was the summer that I became strong.
Wow, I love that. And I like that you talk about it as being strong because obviously as women, we feel this societal pressure to look skinny and look good. And I feel like there's been so many waves of what really is a healthy female body, and like body image in general it has really evolved over the last like decade especially. But I feel like most recently being strong and being just like toned and fit is like really healthy right now, and it's in, which is great.
Well, that's actually like my biggest critique of like the fitness industry, especially when they speak to women, is it's always about the way that you look. And like we're women, like we just live in this culture where like we're always trying to fit certain like standards of beauty, and especially when it comes to our body, there's always such negative messages about like just looking a certain way. And while I do agree that even though now the message is about like being strong and toned, I still think that's very aesthetically driven. So my whole belief is that it shouldn't be about the way that you look at all. It should be about what your body can do, like fully functional human beings that can just move their bodies through time and space. And it actually takes you back to like, especially with calisthenics, because all you're doing is like controlling your own body weight and like discovering new ways to move. It kind of brings you back to also like this inner child, like this inner girl that just used to play on like the bars and like have fun as a kid. And like you never used to worry about like what you look like, So I wish that like I wish that was like the more of like the bigger focus in fitness, and that's like what I like to speak about on my social media.
Yeah, and can you actually like define what calisthenics is, even pre like competitive calisthenics, right? Like what is calisthenics?
So calisthenics is basically on the surface, it's body weight training. It's anything that you can do with your body. Now, the word itself comes from the Greek word kalos and sthenos, which translates directly to beautiful strength. And actually, in the 1800s, there was a girl, her name was Catherine Beecher, and she was very passionate about female physiology and movement. And she was trying to advocate against like the 1800s corsets, because she was saying that like when a woman wears a corset, it actually squeezes all of her organs. Yes. And she was saying that like the only way to combat that is through movement. And I actually think that is very similar to modern day body trainers, like waist trainers.
Right.
And even some of our like athletic gear, it's so tight that I'm like, no wonder why girls are bloating all the time, because they're trying to suck in like all the time. Like I feel like I only discovered how to like take deep belly breaths like 3 years ago, because I'd never actually just like let my stomach just fall and just like be a girl and just like be in the moment. I'm always trying to suck in and be like, you know.
Well, because all
uptight.
of our leggings, everything's high-waisted and tight at the top. So I never really thought about it that way, that it's probably making you actually more bloated because you're not letting yourself naturally just be.
Yeah, because when you think about it, if all your organs are squeezing together and you're pushing things, like you're not going to have space for your food to digest.
Right,
you
right.
know?
That's actually quite scary. That we've been, that's been normalized, right? To be wearing these tight leggings that are high-waisted that just suck you right in to look a certain way. It's unfortunate that society has drawn us there. But getting back to your strength and finding your body and being able to like use your body in different ways, when you first, accomplished that goal of being able to do 10 pull-ups, like what did that feel like, and how did that kind of draw your interest more into this sport? Like what did that look like?
Yeah, definitely like from a female perspective, like we've never, like I didn't even know a girl could do this. Like there was a study back in like 2012 that put women through a test to see like if their biology and like their physiology actually had the ability to do like a pull-up. And I think that out of like the whole like study, only like 2 girls were able to do like one, and they said that was like a failure and that girls were like inferior and like less capable. And I think like now that I look back at that, especially with my own perspective on fitness and like knowing that I can accomplish this, like for me, men have always been like, when I look at their strength, it's always been with admiration. It's always been like, wow, that's awesome. I love what they're doing with their body. I want to learn how to do that too. And it's always been like, I wish that I knew how to do that. Like I'm going to do it. Like I'm going to teach my body how to do it and see if I can, because it's kind of like a territory that not a lot of women, if at all, have even like stepped into, to seeing that their body can explore that. And I actually have 2 theories on that study. I think one, I don't think that a woman's phases of her cycle were taken into account. So hormones were only discovered in like 1940s, and the phases of our cycles and our period have only been like recently explored, and how that affects like our energy levels and like our fitness abilities. So I think that for one, like we've always seen women as just like malfunctioning bodies, like because we're not the same as men. But I think that when we start seeing our bodies not as malfunctioning, but actually like using our own biology to our own benefit and gains, understanding our phases of our cycle, that's going to help us also like reach our goals. And then the second thing is that when it comes to a woman doing hard things, society is so much more likely to just give it easy to them and say, it's okay, like you tried your best, and like give them a little pat in the back because like they're girls. But like you've never had someone like really push you and like say that like you can do this. And a lot of women are scared to really push and try. Like when I train women in calisthenics, I often watch them, like they don't know what that feels like to really hold their body in their own strength, because it's just something that we just haven't explored. We've never done it. So I think that there was a lack of belief in self, and like maybe having like another woman like me pushing these girls as a coach, saying, hey, like you can do this, I think it would have changed the outcome of that study.
Totally. And was there anyone for you that was a mentor or a coach to you when you were going through this?
No. So I like, thankfully the boys and the men have always been really supportive. Mm-hmm. And they've always, like, no matter like where I am, like doing calisthenics, like the men, even though on videos I'm not always able to catch that, but like there's always a man who comes up to me to say like, wow, I'm inspired by you. Well, that was really awesome. And to kind of give me like a little pat in the back. But that's kind of like the interesting thing, is that like I'd never had a woman who kind of like showed me that this is like what they can do with their body. And so I hope that I can be that for other people, of just seeing like, as a woman, like this is what your body can do, and to kind of, inspire them.
Yeah. So is that what you're doing now? I guess let's take a step back, because this video I feel like was really something that like kicked off for you. Like you became, this went viral, hundreds of millions of people. I'm sure it's still going around today. So what did that change for you just in your day-to-day life?
So I studied advertising, and my dream is always to be an art director. I'm obsessed with just coming up with ideas and storytelling, and fitness was always just a passion of mine. And yeah, this video went viral and it completely changed, my life. And now it's like all I want to do is calisthenics, and all I want to do is inspire women to, you know, move their body and also to shift their mindset to be away, because it's just helped me so much also as like a girl with just my own body issues. Like I'm only 4'9". I had, you know, my own body issues with like my own weight growing up and just feeling like I didn't look the way that I wanted. And on social media, there were like influences that were, you know, just I would save their photos as my screensaver to motivate me that I can have their body if I just, you know, put in effort and stuck to my goals. And it only led me to like binge eating cycles, and unfortunately to like an eating disorder. And like it was like a really like rough time. By the way, no one knows this about me, so it's like something that I keep pretty private. But I know how much it changed my perspective on fitness when I started setting actually attainable goals to push my body to like achieve things, as opposed to just like what the scale is going to tell me, because the scale's not going to tell me that I can do a front lever. The scale's not going to tell me that I can do a pull-up. And so I don't take body progress photos. And so that's kind of been like my mission. And I have like, I have a project launching soon. I'm doing an Airbnb experience on Muscle Beach. So people can come out to Muscle Beach and have like a curated, designed experience where I can teach them, you know, the basics of calisthenics and meet people where they're at, whether they're a girl or a guy, come learn what the sport is about, and to do it on Muscle Beach, which is obviously like my
iconic.
Yeah, like my stomping grounds. And so now I'm kind of in like a career transition of being like, how can I take everything that I've learned in advertising and push that more towards my fitness and everything that I love about it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you said a lot there, and I want to just kind of unpack, going back to like how you didn't have anyone actually there training you. So you set out these goals for yourself. Like when you were on the beach in Tel Aviv, you said to yourself, I'm going to reach the 10 pull-up goal before I head back to the States. And you mentioned like having these attainable goals to kind of define success and, you know, what makes you feel good, right? Versus how you look. So what were some of those goals for yourself that you set out, you know, post being able to do 10 pull-ups?
Well, it kind of started with like, okay, so if I'm going to give advice to someone, to say, like, if someone's listening to this and they say, okay, like what can I do to kind of change my mindset? Because maybe what I'm saying is like resonating with them, which I hope it is. I would say shift your mindset to attainable goals. So it can be, how far can you go running without stopping? How high can you jump? Can you even do a pull-up? And also with calisthenics, like there's a name for everything. So after you get your pull-up, it's okay, can you do a skin the cat? Can you do a back lever? Can you do a handstand? And everything kind of has a name. And also there's a certain level of confidence that you feel when you know that you've pushed yourself to achieve something. It's like the most powerful feeling in the world. Like it's just the best.
Yeah. And I love that you're bringing that to light and having this like total career shift and really trying to empower women around you to feel the exact way that you feel. And I think that's really, really inspiring. And I'm curious, like on that note, like obviously you're helping so many women, right? So feminism must mean the world to you. And would love to hear your perspective on feminism, you know, while you were going through this journey, what it's been like for you now, all of the above. Like, what's your perspective?
So this is a really interesting topic for me because I would be the girl who prescribed to feminism. Like, I was like the biggest feminist, and I actually made being a feminist a really big part of my identity. So when that video went viral, and it was resonating with feminists across the world. It was reposted on the Feminist page, which is the largest online platform.
And maybe we could talk a little bit more about the video too. Like, can you explain like what was actually seen in the video besides you doing, you know, a ton of pull-ups, obviously very impressively?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So the backstory to that video is I was living in Richmond, Virginia. It was like just post-pandemic. I had like 4 days left in that city before I was like leaving to Miami for like my dream job here. And we were at this fair, and I hadn't been to like a fair or like an outdoor park because it was the pandemic. And me and my one guy friend who also did calisthenics with me, they had the Navy pull-up bar to like do their recruits. And so me and my guy friend were just going up there, and it was so damn empowering to just like walk right up to those military men and be like, blah, 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 like you're gonna see me do some pull-ups. And there was a girl in the back, her name is Wendy, who I actually met in Miami just a month ago. She came and she visited me, and I met her for the first time because I never met her after that video. And yeah, there was a lot of like responses online about that video because some people were saying, oh, men are just haters. Like men really hate us. They do, like they'll never support women. But in my eyes, that video was less about what the men think, because honestly, I don't care about what men think. I care about what women think, because women have never seen themselves in that way of being strong. And even like when I linked up with Wendy, she was saying how like she always wanted to do a pull-up, but she just was never able to. And so when she saw me doing the pull-ups, like she just had to stop because she was so mesmerized by it. And I don't think that men feel that same way that a woman does when you see like another woman doing something that you just never thought was possible.
Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily that the men were not supporting you, right? I think the men were probably just shocked and just didn't know how to like react in that moment, versus a woman is coming by being mesmerized, and women are just more charismatic and free with their expression to begin with. But yeah. I just remember seeing the video and also thinking, oh, these men, they're kind of just like looking at you like, what's going on? Like they have no expression. But exactly, it's less so that they were maybe hating on it, but more so just like, damn, we don't know what to say, we're in shock.
But also these men are Navy boys, and like no hate to the Navies, but like this is like a known thing in the Navies, like they are not the strong guys, like they're not the ones that do the pull-ups. So it's very likely possible that those men do not do as many pull-ups as me. But it's interesting because social media connected me to a lot of people, and some people even DM'd me and said like, that guy on the left, he's a great guy, great family. Someone actually told me that unfortunately he passed away on one of his missions. So now it's just like this whole video just has so much story and so much mission, and it's like been seen by so many people. But yeah, I think that it's less about what men think, to be honest, and it's more about women supporting women.
Yeah, and so after that, obviously you were connected with Wendy, who's the woman that you can be seen in behind the video cheering you on. How did other women respond to your video?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I mean, this video had such a positive response, like all over social media. It was really interesting because a couple of women commented saying that like they were just crying and like they were just having shivers. And like, I think a lot of women actually like in this moment of time when that video was created and the message that was around it, it really sent like just a shock wave like through just like women, of just like one woman supporting women empowerment, unity, and just knowing that like in this world that is like a patriarchal system, like we can rise up. And I think a lot of women really resonated with that. It was really special.
And that's kicked off obviously like a huge following for you on social media, and people now know you as the pull-up girl, as the calisthenics girl.
Yeah.
So I imagine like the recognition behind that is obviously not going unnoticed, and it's impressive that you've been able to build this empire, and I'm excited to hear what you do next with actually getting into training and maybe moving away from advertising. We'll see, TBD. Yeah. But in terms of like going back to feminism, what has your perspective been on feminism just like throughout your life?
So like I said, I pretty much prescribed my entire identity to being a feminist. And for 2 years straight, I was pushing the message of women need to be like men. And even for myself, like this was like an open conversation that I was having with multiple people, that I wanted to be a man. And like I have like old videos that I never posted, but it was like, there was a part of me that just wanted to shut off my emotions and just be respected the way that a man does. And I know I'm not the only woman who feels this, because we have songs like, If I Were a Boy by Beyonce, if I Was the Man by Taylor Swift. Like a lot of women kind of fantasize about this idea of being a man. And I think that a lot of it is because we want to be respected. And it's almost like if a man has something and there's value underneath it, as a woman, like we want it too. And it was like, this, because we live in like this patriarchal world, a lot of it is like pushing women into these male dominated spaces to prove, very much like me, that we can do it too. And I very much still resonate with that message. But I took a full 180 on my feminist beliefs after October 7th, because that page that I, adored and it was inspired by all the time, the feminist page that I spoke about, that reposted my video, and it was such a huge honor at the time. I feel like they betrayed me, and they betrayed every single Jewish woman on this world for not speaking about the hostages and for not speaking about the victims of sexual abuse, and that was really, really disheartening for me. Now at the time, the Feminist as an account was in my DMs because they had reposted my video. So I would tag them in everything. I would DM them, and they saw everything, and they would just ignore me. They then, a year later, on International Women's Day, this is after October 7th. So actually, it wasn't a year later. It was a couple, because October 7th, so it was like 5 months after, and then International Women's Day is March. I forget the 8th. I forget the exact date. They went live on their Instagram. And the founders, I forget her name, she said, I'm going to tell you guys who I'm fighting for today. And she went down a whole list of every single like women's group that, you know, needs our rights for the women of Iran, the women of Sudan. She went down a whole list. She even said like the women in Gaza. And on that list, she never mentioned Nama Levy. She never mentioned the women who, you know, were held hostage in Gaza. And I was actually having an existential crisis, because I was like, if you're a feminist and you believe in women, how is it possible that we live in a world where you create a systematic hierarchy telling us which women's rights are more important than others? They created in their own movement a systematic hierarchy that discriminated against Jewish and Israeli women. And it was really, really hard for me. I really had to like just take a break from social media to be like, what is going on? What is it that I believe in? And I actually started turning my eyes to people that were making my voice feel included. I had to. I was like, who out there is speaking on behalf of women like me? A woman like me who this organization posted on their page. And it just made me realize that actually a lot of the things that they say are in their page, as far as a feminist movement goes, aside from them betraying all Jewish and Israeli women, there are a lot of things that I don't agree with.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot to unpack there. And I thank you for, first of all, sharing that. I can imagine like how disheartening and just upset you were after seeing that, you know, after being posted and praised for your strength as a woman, to then just be totally disregarded as if you didn't even exist as a woman.
I was like, you're only going to put a spotlight on me when I'm doing my pull-ups, but like not when women like me are literally kidnapped in Gaza.
What about all the Israeli women that were taken away on motorcycles, on trucks into Gaza after just being at a festival, innocently like living their lives, right?
Their stories will go erased in history according to their page. So
no, it doesn't make sense. Feminism is supposed to be the equal rights of women, right? It's not necessarily about women being men, but it's just about equal rights for all women.
And that's intersectional feminism too.
And that's not what the feminist is actually portraying on their page by excluding Israeli and Jewish women. And unfortunately, this is just something that has continuously become normalized for us as Jewish women. And it's so important that we have each other in the spaces like this and spaces like your own platform to have your own Jewish voice. But I think I'm curious, like, how your identity, how that has shifted who you are, not only as a feminist, but as a Jewish woman. Like, how has that impacted you, you know, since October 7th, and what's changed?
So I think after October 7th, I was really in a lot of pain. And it was pain that I had like literally never felt before. And I was like, I don't understand why I'm so like energetic. I was a very bubbly, energetic person. I was like just dull. All the lights went out. And all my entire belief system shattered. Everything that I thought I knew about the world was wrong, apparently. And for a long time, I didn't know what my beliefs were. I was confused. And someone actually gave me really good advice. They said, Cara, in the same way that when you are doing calisthenics and you're working your muscles to get stronger, they have to break down in order to like build your strength. That's the same for your like own inner strength too, which is something that I'd never like ever thought about. So that's when I was like, all right, this is my time to rebuild who I am as a woman, rebuild who I am as a Jewish woman, and re-find my faith. So when it comes to my feminist beliefs, I think that I'm very grounded now in acknowledging that the part of woke feminism is what I say, what they're missing is putting women onto a different playing field. Because so much in feminism, in the woke feminism kind, you're telling women that they need to be like men in order to fit into a society that is built by men for men, as opposed to having men meet us where we're already at. So I'd say now I'm a lot more grounded. I think there needs to be a softer movement that meets women where they're at. Like, men, come meet us down here, or up here, I guess I should say. Come meet us up here, as opposed to us meeting men. Because I feel like so often we just think, you know, we live in a society that values money and capitalism and power. And guess what? Being emotionally intuitive is not going to help me get money. It's not going to bring a salary. So I think there actually has to be a lot of shifts in society in the way that we view our partnership. And then I also want to say that in rebuilding, I know that there's like probably some stuff you want to unpack there, but when it comes to my own belief systems, I'm now looking at Judaism through a feminist lens, and I've come to learn that to me, like the purpose of life is in itself masculine and feminine energies, because when you learn about the Shekhinah, which is like the feminine aspect of God, which for me that was like huge to be like, wow, I can pray to a God that is like this feminine aspect. You kind of see life as like a romantic, cosmic interplay between gender. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I want to get back to like the feminine and masculine energy, but first, the first part of what you said is a lot around men having to meet women where they are at. And I think feminism is so amazing and teaches us as women that we can accomplish the things that the man can do, right? Like for me in my whole life, my father has always been like, you need to have your own job, have your own life, have your own career, like go after that, because you never know what's going to happen one day. If you get married, you don't want to rely on a man. And so that is what my family and my parents, thank you Mom and Dad for teaching me that, because I do think that's beautiful. And I think women have the ability to do so many amazing things. Like women are fucking awesome. Like we are just awesome, amazing human beings, and not only like emotionally intelligent, but also can be hardworking and can be the boss bitch CEO. But just because you're the boss bitch CEO, like doesn't mean you can't have it all. Why can't I be a boss bitch CEO, but also have a husband, also have a partner that is maybe encapsulating the masculine energy that I want out of a partner? Like maybe they're not the provider for me. Maybe we're equals in the situation, right? But feminism doesn't have to mean like, I don't need a man, or I can be the man, right? To me, feminism isn't, I want to be the man. It's like, let me be the woman and have a man to complement that. And I think for me, like that's what the problem of feminism is like, we shouldn't have to be the man. We can be a woman and also have these other people complementing who we are.
Well, I think that in our day and age, so many women are just in fight or flight all the time because we've just been so hurt by men that a lot of women are just like, fuck this. Like, I just don't want to I just don't want to, like they're just in fight or flight, and they're just like, I'm so done with this. And they're like, I'm going to do it myself.
Which they can do, and they should do, and I'm all for that. But at the end of the day, it's okay to want a partner. Like, it's okay to want a relationship, and I think that's where there's such a fine line, and that's where I have a problem of like even myself. Like I've been so career oriented, and I have masculine energy, but I am trying to channel more of like that those feminine qualities, because we shouldn't hide those. That is who we are as women. Like we are feminine, and that's a beautiful thing.
And that's kind of also like what I'm trying to like lean more in is my femininity, because I've never given room to that. And when a woman is grounded in her feminine energy, it is like the most beautiful thing. Like you just realize how interconnected like what you are to like the world around you. Like the fact that even like our cycles, like they have the phases of the moon. Like a lot of women, like you're either in like okay, we don't have to get too much into this, but yeah, like and even like with like Judaism too, like all of like the big Jewish holidays fall over like the full moon. And like that's like when like a lot of women are like most like intuitive.
Totally. And I guess like since October 7th, right, feminism has obviously like changed a lot for you and its meeting. So how has that impacted even like relationships of yours?
So I think very much like you, I had a dad who also told me like, no matter what happens, you need to be able to provide for yourself. And I think that, as a woman, it's important that we always have something to fall back to. That way we don't get into abusive relationships. We can pack our bag, because if something happens, I'm taking my bag, I'm taking my money, and I'm leaving. And I think that's a really good thing that women need in society. But on that note, for me, someone who has always been in their masculine energy, has always valued masculine qualities, has always almost like discarded my feminine energies. After October 7th, I took a step back and I found myself a lot more grounded in like my feminine energy, and found ways to really like utilize that and to like find strength through that. And like I also like had never been in relationships. I've never dated anybody. I've never been in love. It's never even been something that I've wanted. And now all of a sudden it's like all I want. Like all I want is like
And do you think that's a product of this feminist movement that you were so committed to?
So committed, yeah. I think that for a woman to take a step back and say, I don't need to fight all the time, and it's okay to let a man, and this was a really big thing for me, it's okay to let a man take care of you. Because that was like a really big thing for me. And to just, you know, build trust with men again. I think just because a lot of women have just been betrayed so much.
I mean, of course, like we've all had our stories, right, of being betrayed by men and men being shitty and doing wrong things. But women do bad things too. And like there are bad people on both sides of the spectrum. And I think I wish the narrative would shift to like, let's focus on the fact that there are still good people out there and there are still those hidden gems, and like not every guy is a bad guy. But of course, when you're hurt that many times, like I understand why women would have their guard up. But, you know, I think channeling your feminine energy is so important. And I want to lean more into that too, of like, what does that even mean? Like, what does that look like for you? And like, how have you been trying to channel what you call your feminine energy?
So I think that also because after October 7th, I was forced to slow down. Like I literally didn't have a choice. Like I was like running on edges like all the time, doing so many things like on fast speed. And because I was so hurt, like I really had to like take a step back and just kind of sit in my pain. And through that, I feel like it was able to like soften and to find like the really beautiful things. That is just like being a woman, like being like being a woman who is emotionally intuitive and can understand and process emotions, because I am a really sensitive person and I read energies. Like I can pick up on so many energies when I walk into a room. And so it's given me strength to like understand like my emotions and process that and to see them as something that is powerful and not something that's going to just like bring me down in society.
Yeah. So did you feel like before October 7th, you just were channeling like a more macho personality and kind of hiding your emotions? Like, did you ever cry before?
Of course I cried. Like, you know, every girl, everyone, you know, cries. But I feel like your emotions are like literally GPS. It's like literally like a built-in GPS for a woman. And if we're not attuned to our emotions and we don't know how to process like the emotions and the things that run through our body, it's gonna have an effect on just being tense all the time and being stressed. And I was always someone who just would bluff over my emotions. I'd be like, I just want to bottle them up and just move on in society, because I always saw my emotions as something that would bring me down, take a step back. Like I remember one day I was
as a weakness.
As a weakness. Like I remember one day I was like at work, I was like at my job, and like my boss said something that really upset me, and I went to the bathroom and cried. And it's the only time that I've ever cried at work. And I remember I was just like so frustrated with myself, and I was like, I just like want to be able to just be a man and just like not have to deal with my emotions. And now it's like my emotions are literally like my guide. It's like when you lean into your emotions, it tells you everything you need to know. Like you're confused, if you're a woman and you're confused and you don't know, like tune into your body, because you have all the tools inside of you.
Yeah, I do think like there's something about a woman's intuition. Like everyone always says, you know, trust your gut. And there's something about a woman's gut. Like it tells you everything that you need to know about any situation. And that's powerful.
Yeah. Also, I had a story that I wanted to share going back to after October 7th and kind of how I found my new feminist beliefs. So during that first week after October 7th, I literally had guy friends that were rushing off to the army like the next day. And I was like, how are you doing this? Like, I literally haven't left my bed in a week. And Friday night came, and I've never missed lighting Shabbat candles. Never missed it. And I was like, I don't believe in God. I don't know who my God is. I'm confused. Like, what is happening? So much darkness was around me. And I mustered all of my courage to go light my Shabbat candles, because I was like, Cara, you never miss. And I was so reluctant. I was like, this means nothing. Like, religion is stupid. I hate this. And I lit my Shabbat candles, and I, you know, did my hands to welcome the angels into my home. And I said my prayers. And I remember just so much warmth and so much light surrounded me, that like something I'd never like experienced before. And that's when I realized that being a woman is so special, because we literally have the power to bring the heavens down to earth, because I felt it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is really,
and that's
really
when I was
special.
like, men don't have that. Men don't have the ability to literally like bring angels into their home by just lighting a candle. And it made me just feel so much more like secure in like my gender and who I am.
Wow. I know, as someone that you were like, I want to be a man.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a man. Now you've done this total 180, and it
Total
must feel
180.
good to finally feel, I guess, like confident in your own skin.
Yeah, it feels really good because it feels like I don't need to be this or that. I can be both. Like,
right, why can't you be both? Right.
And I think that's like the biggest thing that I've like learned through like my feminist beliefs, because feminism has given women the choice to choose what they want to do. And that is something that we as women have never had, because we've always had our story told by men. So I feel like while we live in a day and age where not every woman wants to, you know, have a 9-to-5 job and be the CEO. Like, I know a lot of women who are tired and they just want to be a stay-at-home mom, and that's beautiful. And there's nothing wrong with that. I want to be a mom too, you know, and I want to be present with my kids. And I think that's like the biggest thing, is that feminism has given us the choice on what we want to do. But I still think that the feminist movement has taken us too far.
Yeah.
So I think now we need to center ourselves a little bit. Let's come back to center. Let's go home.
I agree. I mean, I think for women, the feminist movement has taken us too far. And then on the flip side, men are lagging behind in a lot of ways. Like, men aren't as educated as they used to be. Men aren't in all of these, you know, high class jobs as they used to be anymore. Like, they're falling behind in so many different areas, and we're going one way and they're going the opposite way. And it's creating this divide of people aren't getting married as frequently as they used to be. There's more singlehood. It's more common to be single because women don't want to deal with men, and men can't even muster up the skills that they need to go find a woman. So there's this huge divide. And until we can kind of lessen this gap, we might all be single forever. No, just kidding. But hopefully not. But I love that you have really like found yourself and been able to kind of, unfortunately, this large scale event, and you feeling, you know, totally betrayed by people you thought were your true people, and this movement you believed in led you to where you are today. But I think it's also, there's something beautiful in that, right? And like being able to kind of find this newfound version of yourself.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I want to talk more just about calisthenics and like what the future holds for you, and how you can maybe like turn this into a career. And is that even the goal?
Yeah, so I definitely so last year I competed for the UFX, which was the first time that calisthenics has ever been seen as like a professional sport officially. Part of the struggles in making this a professional sport is that it is hard to standardize, and because so much of the sport is personality, and it's what you bring to the table, and it's creating your own movement. And the way that you can think about calisthenics is it's kind of what you had to see as contemporary dance to ballet. So there's a lot more personality. There's a lot more freestyle. You don't have to point your toes and be so like uptight in all of like your movements. So last year I competed on Fox Sports, and my team won, Team Harlem. Shout out to you guys. And now I just want to give back to women. I just want to help other women also like reach the same. I believe that more women should feel this powerful in their body as well. So now I'm like shifting gears to just all of that.
So no more competing for now.
I mean, if the opportunity comes up, there's a competition in August that I'll head out to. But for now, I really just want other women to feel what I feel in my body. And I really believe that that's like what women were like meant to be doing is calisthenics.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to come to your Muscle Beach event.
Yeah.
That sounds really amazing.
Yes.
I'm terrified of doing a pull-up, but
What's to be scared about?
Because I know it's going to take some time, but I'm up for the challenge.
I feel like that's part of the process. Like when you start a sport that you're not good at, when it's not easy, because like that sucks. Like to be a beginner at something at like our age,
it sucks.
Like
you want to just know what you're doing and be good at it.
You know, but I feel like that's also like about expanding like your potential and like learning new things about yourself. Like we should always be learning to do new things. And one thing that I told myself was, you know what, I might never be an Olympian, but I'll always be better than I was yesterday. And I've kind of just like carried that every day. Like, okay, today, like I can only do 4 push-ups. Tomorrow I could do 7. And, you know, you just keep pushing every day, and then you turn back one day and you're like, wow, like look how far I've come.
Yeah, like, wow, I used to be able to be negative.
Yeah, I think that like I could get you to do a pull-up. I think I could get you there.
Okay, we'll try. How many pull-ups actually can you do in one sitting?
So the most I've done is 30.
Well, damn.
Yeah.
What's the most a man has done? Do you know?
I don't know. Probably a lot more.
Okay, it's okay. We don't need to know. Not about the men today.
This
is about the women. This is about the females.
Not about the men.
Okay. Well, I'm very excited to try some pull-ups with you. I feel like you'd be a great coach. And it'll be really funny seeing our height difference. Cara is 4'9". I'm 5'9.5".
You're a whole head
I'm a
taller
whole
than me.
foot and a little bit taller than her. So it's just really funny. When she walked in the room, I was like, oh my God.
I'm wearing higher heels next time.
Yeah. What's your highest heel that you own?
Like 6 inches.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'd be 6'4".
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
That's crazy. Well, you don't have to wear the heels.
I don't need them. I don't wear them.
At bars, I just get like elbowed all the time and get like drinks spilled on me. So I have to get a little bit of height because people just don't see me.
Otherwise people wouldn't see you. Mm-hmm. That's a problem. Yeah. Well, before we kind of conclude today, I would love to hear your advice on like women that maybe you're Jewish that are kind of struggling to find a voice today, because you've obviously found your voice as not only a woman, but a Jewish woman. And it's really difficult to do that, whether it's on social media or not. So I'm curious what advice you might have for people who are still searching for their voice today.
It's an interesting question. I feel like the biggest thing that I would tell women is to turn inwards, and to focus on themselves. As much as like I can look at the world and be like, I'm frustrated with every single woman that betrayed me, that I thought were like my friend and supported me, and that we had a sisterhood, because that's what we were. We were a sisterhood, okay? And then I was like, wait, maybe we're not, because I'm not even included in like your movement. And I feel like the best thing that we can do is just turn inwards and turn to our community, because being a woman is so special, and being a Jewish woman is also just so beautiful. And when you start seeing the world through the lens of like the feminine like energy, and having that rise and having that softness be really beautiful and strong, it just changes the whole way of how you show up in the world. You have an inner knowing that you just never explored or knew about.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like you're letting your guard down by channeling your feminine energy, because while you're being in your masculine, you have that shell. And I think like opening you up to the world can be really beautiful, as hard as it can be.
Being raw and being like really unfiltered and natural. And I always tell people that like your greatest asset is your inner knowing. So the more that you just turn inwards and you tap into yourself, and you just let like the inner knowledge just like come through your body, because we're just like connected to the spiritual world in ways that men aren't.
Yeah, we really are. Women are just incredible. The women just connect to each other better than men ever could, but we love men too. We love them all equally, but yeah. Women are special and they should be celebrated. So thank you for doing what you're doing and celebrating women every day. Amen. And I'm excited to see what's next for you.
Amen.
And
well,
let's get to Muscle Beach, girl.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to recruit you, so I'm going to hold you to that.
I'll be there. I actually will be there.
Okay, awesome. It was lovely to chat with you.
Yes, lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.